Chasing is one of the easiest traps to fall into because it feels natural. When you want something badly, your instinct is to run after it. In love, you think if you keep showing effort, if you keep proving how much you care, she'll eventually see your value. In business, you assume that if you hustle harder, call more, push more, the opportunity will finally come your way. In life, you convince yourself that constant pursuit is the only way to get ahead. But the truth is, chasing almost always has the opposite effect. The more you run towards something, the more it seems to slip out of reach. People don't lean into desperation, they lean into calmness, certainty, and presence. Chasing creates an imbalance because it puts all the energy on one side. You're giving, proving, extending yourself, while receiving little in return. That's not a partnership, that's a transaction waiting to collapse. An imbalance always breeds resentment, even if it's unspoken. Over time, you'll feel drained, wondering why your effort isn't appreciated. Worse, the other person learns to see your value only in what you do, not in who you are. The constant effort becomes expected, not respected. Presence, on the other hand, communicates confidence. It says, I know my worth, and I don't need to beg for recognition. The irony is that presence outlasts effort because it doesn't burn out. Effort fades, but the calm assurance of knowing your value never does. Chasing might get you a little attention, but it will never get you lasting respect. Respect is born from balance, from mutual energy, from the willingness to walk away when it's not reciprocated. That's why the first step to power is realizing that chasing is not strength, it's weakness disguised as love. Attraction lives and breathes through mystery, and mystery is something most men lose the moment they start chasing. When you're always the one texting first, always responding instantly, always eager to fill the silence, you strip away the unknown. And without the unknown, desire withers. Think about it. Imagine watching a movie when you already know every twist and every ending before it happens. No matter how good the actors or the story, you'd lose interest because there's no tension, no curiosity pulling you forward. Relationships work the same way. Curiosity is the spark that keeps her invested. When you're too predictable, when she always knows where you are, what you're doing, and how you'll respond, the spark fades. By stepping back and not chasing, you allow room for her to wonder about you. What's he doing right now? Why hasn't he reached out yet? Who is he spending his time with? Those small questions fuel her attraction far more than constant attention ever could. It's not about playing games, it's about allowing space for her curiosity to grow. Mystery doesn't mean being unavailable or cold. It means not pouring out every detail of your life the moment she asks. It means letting her discover you layer by layer instead of handing her the entire story up front. Attraction thrives on discovery, on the little surprises that keep her guessing and wanting to know more. When you chase, you deny her that experience. You make yourself too easy to figure out, too easy to predict, and easy is rarely exciting. By resisting the urge to chase, you protect the mystery that keeps her leaning in. That's how you shift the energy. Not by pushing harder, but by letting curiosity work in your favor. Chasing never comes from a place of strength, even though it often disguises itself that way. On the surface, it looks like determination, commitment, or passion, but if you strip away the layers, what you find is fear. When a man chases, it's usually because he's scared. Scared she'll forget about him, scared that another man will step in, scared that if he doesn't keep proving himself, he'll lose his chance. Fear is the hidden engine behind every desperate pursuit, and fear is the weakest foundation for attraction. People can sense it. Women especially can feel it without a word being spoken. Desperation has a scent, and it never draws someone closer, it only pushes them away. Confidence, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself or chase validation. Real strength says, I know who I am, and I'll be fine whether she chooses me or not. That's not arrogance, it's self-respect. And self-respect is magnetic because it shows you're not dependent on anyone else's approval to feel valuable. When you're centered in that mindset, you no longer move from fear, you move from choice. You don't text 10 times because you're worried she's slipping away, you reach out once because you genuinely want to, and if she doesn't respond, you stay steady. That steadiness is what creates respect. Chasing from fear, on the other hand, creates exhaustion, because no matter how much you give, it never feels like enough. The energy of fear drains you, while the energy of strength fuels you. When you stand rooted in your worth, you send a signal, I don't need to be chosen to know my value. That energy flips the script. Fear begs. Strength attracts. When you're caught up in chasing, you don't see things for what they are. You see them for what you wish they could be. Chasing blinds you. It convinces you that if you just try harder, if you just prove yourself a little more, eventually she'll recognize your value. But that's an illusion. If she doesn't see your worth already, more effort won't suddenly open her eyes. In fact, the harder you chase, the more you cloud your own vision. You start ignoring the red flags. You excuse disrespect. You overlook the way she pulls away or the times she shows little interest. You rewrite the story in your head because admitting the truth feels too painful. That's the danger of chasing, it keeps you living in fantasy instead of reality. But the moment you stop chasing, clarity begins to return. Stillness gives you the space to see things as they truly are. You discover whether she's genuinely interested or if she's only been keeping you around for attention, validation, or convenience. And while the truth may sting, it always sets you free. When you stop running after someone who keeps running away, you reclaim your vision. You stop asking, what more can I do to make her choose me, and start asking, is she even worthy of being chosen by me? That single shift changes everything. Stillness forces the truth to reveal itself. Either she steps forward because she genuinely cares, or she disappears because she never did. Both answers give you clarity, and clarity is power. Chasing leaves you in limbo, waiting and guessing. Stillness gives you the answer you need to move forward, and that answer, whether it's yes or no, is always better than living blind. Every moment you spend chasing someone who isn't chasing you back is a moment stolen from your own growth. Chasing keeps you distracted from what really matters, your mission, your purpose, the life you're meant to build. Instead of focusing on becoming stronger, sharper, and more fulfilled, you waste your energy staring at a phone, waiting for a reply, or planning the next way to impress her. That time could be spent hitting the gym, leveling up your career, learning new skills, or building the kind of life that naturally attracts the right people into it. Chasing robs you of momentum, and momentum is everything. When you redirect that energy inward instead of outward, you begin to transform. The irony is that the very thing you're chasing, attention, respect, love, starts to show up when you stop chasing and start growing. Women notice when a man is deeply focused on his purpose. People in general are drawn to someone moving forward with confidence and direction. Nothing is more magnetic than a man who is building his world with or without her. And here's the paradox, the more you invest in yourself, the less you even feel the need to chase. Your life becomes so full, so rich, that you no longer cling to someone else for validation. The desperation fades, replaced by pride in what you're creating. That's when attraction shifts naturally in your favor. She'll see the difference in your energy, not because you begged for her attention, but because you rose into a version of yourself that commands attention. Chasing her keeps you small. Chasing your purpose makes you unstoppable. And when you become unstoppable, you won't have to run after anyone, they'll lean in to keep up with you. Silence can often say more than words ever could. When you stop chasing, stop explaining yourself, stop trying to prove why you deserve someone's love, you create a powerful shift. You send a clear message, I know my worth, and I don't need to beg for recognition. That kind of silence carries weight. It makes her think, reflect, and wonder in ways constant pursuit never could. Chasing speaks too loudly, it drowns out your dignity with noise. Stillness, however, speaks with authority. It creates space for her to either lean toward you or step away, and both outcomes give you peace. Because at the core, it's not only about attraction, it's about protecting your inner calm. Chasing drains you. It robs you of clarity, makes you second-guess yourself, and leaves you restless. But when you let go and trust that what's meant for you will come, you walk lighter. You stop carrying the weight of someone else's decision. You no longer live in constant tension, waiting to be chosen. Instead, you choose yourself. And from that place of self-respect, everything changes. The right woman doesn't need to be convinced. She doesn't require endless effort to prove your value. She recognizes it naturally and meets you halfway. That's why peace is the greatest reward of stillness. It allows you to step out of the exhausting chase and into alignment with what's truly meant for you. You realize that love isn't supposed to be begged for, it's supposed to flow freely. And the woman who's truly for you won't need you to run after her. She'll stand beside you willingly. Chasing is noise. Stillness is power. And when you embrace that stillness, you stop losing yourself and start gaining everything that actually matters.